If you're planning to renovate your kitchen, you've probably heard it's one of the best things you can do for your home's value. So people spend big, expecting to make it back when they sell. But here's the catch. The same renovation can pay for itself in one house and add almost nothing in another. And whether it pays off comes down to a couple of things, and you can check them yourself on your own home before you spend $1. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to update, what to leave alone, and what will cost you money. I'm Justin Braithwaite, a real estate broker with over a decade of experience. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, the 2 questions. Every kitchen decision comes down to 2 questions. First, what shape is your kitchen in right now? And second, what do homes in your price range already have? The value of any upgrade is the gap between those 2 answers. If your kitchen is well behind what buyers in your area expect, closing that gap pays you back because you're bringing the home up to what people are already paying for nearby. But if your kitchen already matches what's normal in your area, spending more to push past that adds very little because there's nothing in the neighborhood to support the higher price. The bottom line, you get paid for catching up. You don't get paid for showing off. Chapter 2, reading your neighborhood. Here's how to see what buyers in your neighborhood are already paying for. On any home search site, pull up homes that have sold in the last 6 months to a year, in your price range and close to your size. Look at the kitchen photos. Are the counters stone or laminate? Are the cabinets painted in current or dark and dated? Are the appliances stainless or older white? Whatever shows up in most of those sold kitchens is your target. That's the standard you're matching and the line you don't need to cross. There's also a way to turn this into a rough dollar figure for your own house, and I'll come back to that near the end. Chapter 3, cabinets. Cabinets are usually the biggest decision in the kitchen, and whether to paint them, reface them, or replace them comes down to the condition. First, open and shut the doors. A crooked or sticking door is usually just a loose hinge, but when the hinges are tight and the box itself is out of square, it's shifted. Then pull the drawers all the way out. If they're solid and sturdy, that's good. If they have thin boards held together with staples that are coming apart at the corners, that's not good. So here's the rule of thumb. If the door style still works, the box is solid and square, and only the color is dated, paint them. If the style itself looks old, reface them with new doors. And if they're out of square or falling apart, replace them. Chapter 4, countertops. Countertops are, in my experience, where people waste the most money upgrading something that was already fine. Replacing a worn laminate counter with stone is a real jump, and it pays, because both an appraiser and a buyer see a clear step up. But replacing a perfectly good stone counter with a fancier one usually returns nothing because to almost everyone walking through the home, stone is stone. The lesson is that you get paid for the size of the jump, not the price of the slab. If you've got dated or damaged surfaces, new stone is one of the best investments you'll make. If you already have decent stone, leave it alone. Chapter 5, layout. Most kitchens don't need their layout changed, but there are 2 times when it's worth it. The first is when the layout genuinely doesn't work. Measure the path between your sink, your stove, and your refrigerator. Each of those 3 legs should be between 4 and 9 feet, and the 3 added together should be under 26 feet. If those numbers are way off, or a cabinet or oven door bangs into something every time you open it, the kitchen is hard to use and fixing that pays. The second is when sold homes in your area have open kitchens and yours is closed off. If buyers expect the kitchen to be open to the living space and yours is walled in, opening it up catches up to the standard, same as anything else. Just know that if the wall is load-bearing or carries pipes, wiring, gas, or ductwork, it costs much more, so the gap you're closing has to be worth the price. Chapter 6, appliances. For appliances, you want them to be working and clean. New, matching stainless appliances tell a buyer the kitchen is current, and that's most of the benefit. Spending big on luxury brands only pays off where buyers already expect them in higher-end homes. In an average home, an expensive professional range doesn't return more than a good standard one, and it can carry added installation costs, such as a dedicated gas line or a 240-volt circuit and a bigger vent hood. And watch out for oversized appliances that swallow the room. A giant refrigerator in a normal kitchen is not good. Chapter 7, small updates that pay. The cheapest updates often return you the most per dollar. Simple changes like fresh neutral paint, new cabinet hardware, an updated light fixture, and a new faucet and sink make a tired kitchen feel current for very little money, with nothing torn out. A new backsplash costs a bit more because tile is real installation work, and going bigger on the sink like a farmhouse style means recutting the counter. But all of it pays on a dated kitchen. Chapter 8, What to Avoid. A few things to be aware of that work against you. Bold or trendy choices like a strong cabinet color, a busy backsplash, or unusual fixtures shrink your buyer pool, and many buyers subtract the cost of changing it. Custom cabinetry rarely returns its premium over good stock because buyers can't tell the difference and won't pay for it. The one exception is an oddly shaped kitchen where stock won't fit. Ultra premium stone won't return its cost either. And the most personal touches are usually the ones the next buyer wants to undo. The rule of thumb is that neutral and current beats bold and specific. Chapter 9, Staying or Selling. How long you'll be in the home changes the whole calculation. If you're selling within about 2 years, treat this as a resale decision. Match the neighborhood standard and stop there. If you're staying 5 years or more, you're the one using the kitchen every day, so spend based on what you'll actually enjoy and know that styles move on, so you'll likely refresh again before you sell anyway. Now for the dollar figure I promised. Take a few comparable sold homes in your area with updated kitchens and a few additional homes that are the same but just with dated kitchens. The difference between what the two groups sold for is roughly what an updated kitchen is worth where you live. Put that number next to what your remodel would cost. If the difference is greater than the cost, then it would be a positive investment for resale. What part of your kitchen are you stuck on? Cabinets, counters, the layout? Tell me in the comments. And if you're buying or selling anywhere in the country and you're not sure where to start, reach out to me. I can help connect you with a strong local agent who knows your market, communicates well, and will give you honest guidance. There's a link in the description. I'm Justin Braithwaite. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I put out new videos like this every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.